Fern.
Well, first, I think we're going to have to integrate new trustees and a new superintendent into our governance structure. So I think that it will be a top priority try to get that off the ground successfully, orientation at different levels for those particular entities of our district. We'll be passing a budget in August. We have a pretty good idea what that budget will look like, but it will be coming up really soon. We'll have a chance to have that in our hands, study it. If there are any questions, we'll have that opportunity as we go through the summer, as the legislature seems to be coming to an end. We're going to have to do something with, we annually visit our strategic plan. It either happens later in the summer or the spring. We've purposely put that off a bit, knowing there'd be a superintendent change, kind of seeing where that new superintendent was at, comfort level. Do we go with a facilitator that we've been using? We do something different. So we're going to have to make a decision on that. I guess lastly, as you're aware, we did not have any kind of negotiation session this time with either of the two unions. But I think we're going to have to reestablish a relationship, start putting together maybe a plan for when we want to meet again, consider issues that may be coming up, study legislative changes that may impact the relationship or governance within schools. I think we'll be pretty busy for the first few months of this new school board year.
Thank you. Third question, Mrs. Fuentes. What is your understanding of the local school board's role in supporting all aspects of public education?
Well, legally, the school board creates policy, adopts and administers budget, approves expenses, upholds the law according to state educational law, reports to government agencies. In addition to those legal guidelines, I also believe that the school board can be the connection between the school district, as far as the schools, the staff, the teachers, the administrators, and our taxpayers. I just feel that that's really the liaison work, and knowing that it's a board and it's a group decision process, I feel like there's an opportunity for real balance there.
Thank you. Mr. Watts.
So recognize, and maybe in summary, recognize the fact that the school board has responsibility for basically all aspects of the district, and all the practical implications of that, whether they have to do with budgeting or hiring or elections or any of those kinds of things. For me, personally, as I contemplate possibly being on the board, I think of it mostly in terms of a partnership with the superintendent, partnership with the administrative staff, partnership with the professional staff in terms of the unions, but a partnership that if we're working together effectively can accomplish the kind of change that, in my opinion, is needed in education throughout the country, not just in our community. It's an issue that we face kind of nationally. The need to reinvent our public education system in all of its aspects, its curriculum, financing, all of those components. And so I look forward to being on a board that will effectively collaborate with the superintendent and the rest of the district to envision and then implement those kinds of changes.
Mr. Fern?
Well, I agree with everything I've heard so far. You know, local control is a really big deal in the running of schools in the United States. It's especially a big deal in the state of Montana. But there is this friction that occurs between local control, state control, and federal control. You heard about issues with the legislature of how funding will work. We've been dealing with No Child Left Behind for years, with mixed results and a lot of harsh and positive feelings towards it. I think that friction is just going to be there. At the local level, generally speaking, trustees tend to agree as you examine the votes, but that doesn't mean there's not room for the iconoclast on the board. And so there are individual feelings expressed in their votes. There's individual feelings allowed. What we try to accomplish is that when the vote has been taken, that we either support it or don't go out and rail against it, that we, in some sense, agree to disagree if there's this can't come to agreement. There are few 4-3 votes. They occur infrequently, much more 7-0 votes. But I think there is room for the individual to operate within a fairly wide parameter within the board, and I think it's worked quite well. Overall, though, we do support the philosophy of public education and understand the significance of what public education presents to the children of the United States. And it's very important, and I would hope all trustees recognize that and respect that.
Thank you. Mr. Vine?
Well, I think, obviously, the idea and the mission is the objective is to give all of our students the opportunity for a quality education to survive in today's business world. And, I totally agree with that mission statement and willing to help use it to guide my decision making. But I also think, that one of the things that I do see the school board functioning the way that they do function would be like in many other boards, and that we hire the right people. So here we made a decision to engage a new superintendent and to empower her and those that she has selected in the future and those who we've selected in the past, and empower them to help bring ideas and solutions to our challenges to us so that we can incorporate that into our decision-making process. So I really do believe in as Sean said too, to collaborate together, to work from instructors to administrators to school board trustees and the community, that we all work together and bring all those ideas together and find that happy medium or that balance where we can provide that quality education, and that we all agree to move forward and help our students evolve as education does. So I think empowering our employees and empowering the staff is certainly a way to help bring us the ideas that we need. Much in the same way I work at the hospital. I don't know what the nurses on the 3rd floor need, but if they share what their needs are with me, maybe I can help work with them to find a solution to their challenge. And so I think that's why I would look to teachers and administrators and to the community to help guide my decision making and be able to maybe use my philosophy on life and education to help guide that decision making with that input.